Hi, this is Mike from Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and on today's video we'll be taking a look at a cheap way of adding some RGB bling to your PC for not a lot of money. Keep watching to find out more. Okay, so in today's video we'll be taking a look at a set of addressable RGB fans that come complete with a remote control and a control hub, and the control hub has a few little surprises up its sleeve, but we'll look at that a little bit later on. Now these have been sent to us by an Amazon seller called Single Wolf, and they've got a store on Amazon so you can check out. Links will be in the video description. We haven't been paid to say anything, or we haven't been paid for this review, but they asked us if we would like to check out their fans, and I thought, well, why not? It's always a very interesting thing for those of you trying to add that little bit of RGB bling. So let's take a look at the packaging first of all. We'll take it all out, see what it's like, we'll fire them up and get some results. So first of all, packaging wise, yeah, pretty straightforward thing. You can see this is a 3-pack. There are other options available, so if you do want more fans you can do that, and this is an expandable kit and can be attached up to 10 fans, plus a couple of RGB strips as well, so you can really go to town. On the side of the box it's got some of the product features and some of the specifications, and we'll put some close-ups of that on the screen for you right now. But essentially what this is a 5-volt addressable RGB system with 12-volt fans, and the fans are 120 by 120 by 25mm. The fans themselves have a rated speed between 0 RPM and 1200 RPM, plus or minus 10%, and are controllable via the remote control. They are not controllable via your motherboard, so if you've got a motherboard which doesn't have any headers for fans, etc., or limited accessibility for those kind of things, then this is a fantastic choice. At the moment this retails in the UK for around about £20, which again, for 3 fans, a controller and a remote control, I think is pretty good value for money. Also, there is been mentioned from the supplier that they possibly will be doing a giveaway, so look in the video description and I'll update that when that becomes a thing. So that's about it for the packaging. Let's take a look and see what we actually get. So first of all, we get a brief instruction manual, which goes about telling you how things are set up, what the remote control does. Again, I'll give you some close-ups of that so you can take a look at greater detail. First of all, we've got the RGB Controller Hub, and as you can see, pretty nice looking, and has got a ton of connections all around the sides for connecting up loads and loads of fans. So again, up to 10 fans and 2 addressable RGB strips. Also, there is the power input on this side, which is thankfully from a SATA connection. And also there's an option on the side there for the auxiliary input for RGB from your motherboard. So if you've got an RGB motherboard which has the 5-volt 3-pin section, you can plug that in nice and easily. And also there's an option on the side there so you can actually repurpose your reset switch from your case and plug it into here to take control of your RGBs. That is if you don't want to use the motherboard or the included remote control. The controller also has a self-adhesive pad on the back, so if you want to you can stick that in your case, maybe behind or possibly in front, but we'll see why that is in a little bit. So next up is some of our mounting hardware. So you get 3 packets of screws, obviously 3 fans, so that kind of makes sense. And also you get your pass-through cable. So one end connects into the controller itself, which is this 3-pin section, and on the other end you've got the option for the standard 5-volt 3-pin connection, and also there's a pass-through also for the VDG, which is on some gigabyte motherboards. The extension itself is around about 18 inches long, so should give you a lot of room for wiring in your case. Next up we've got the remote control, which comes with a supplied battery, and this works on radio frequency, so you don't have to worry about direct line of sight, that kind of thing. And it's got an absolute ton of buttons on there. Again, I'll put some close-ups of this so you can see it in more detail, but essentially it's the usual deal. So you've got your on-off, fan speed, etc., changing your RGB modes, and also at the bottom there's a couple of extra modes which are really interesting. And last but not least we get the fans themselves. So as you can see, pretty nice looking fans, and you've got rubber grommets in all 4 corners on both sides, so to reduce vibrations, that kind of thing. And also with these fans, if you're using perhaps something like the Lian Li 011 case, you do have RGB on both sides, so RGB will be clearly visible regardless of how you mount them. The fans themselves have a connection cable, which unfortunately is the 6-pin connector, which is a kind of custom connection for this particular controller. So unfortunately you can add other non-branded fans to the system. So that's what you get in the box. Let's connect them up and see what they actually look like, because after all, that is the most important part. So first of all I've got is a regular power supply here with a SATA connector and plugged it straight in. And as you can see, the first unusual thing about this is the actual controller itself does have addressable RGB light in. And at the moment, this is set to the sound to light profile. So whenever you speak, it will change the lighting accordingly. So when you're speaking, it will flash away like crazy. Now let's plug in the fans and see how that reacts with the extra fans as well. Personally, I think this is actually a really nice touch. I don't think I've seen a RGB controller which actually had addressable RGB built in as well, so definitely a new one on me. So there we go, there is the fans connected, and as you can see, the sound to light works in a pretty crazy way. So there's three options on the bottom for the sound to light. So if you press the first one, so that will just come on when there's actually speaking. If it's completely silent, then the lights will be off. Pressing the second one changes it into a slightly different look, and again you've got the sound to light, so whenever you're talking, whether there's music or noise or gameplay or whatever, then the lights will react to that. Again, pretty cool. The last one, this is more of a standard color section, so if you're with the normal RGB in your system, maybe you've got the older 12 volt RGB, this may work quite nicely because it doesn't have the addressable effects but still does that kind of color flow thing, which is yeah, pretty good. The actual sound is picked up by the controller, so the closer you get to the controller, the more reactive it's going to be. You can change the reaction actually using the buttons on the remote control, so it's less sensitive if necessary. So fan wise, let's go into the fan. So with the fan control, there is no PWM or voltage control directly to your motherboard, so it is all done from the remote control. And one thing you will notice is whenever you power these up for the first time, they will be set to the default speed of basically full speed, so 1200 RPM, which some of you may find a little bit noisy. So you might find it a little bit frustrating to actually dig out your remote control every time you boot up the PC to reduce the fan speed. I'll put them onto the slowest speed first of all, so you can get an idea of what they're like. Helps if I press the right button. So plus button turns the speed up, minus button turns the speed down, pretty much what you'd expect. If I press the auto button, we'll go back to the normal unicorn puke. So these are the fans at their lowest speed, and essentially they're completely silent. At this speed, roughly you're moving around about 1.3 meters per second of air. On the second speed setting is about 1.6 meters per second, and on the full speed you're looking at 2.1 meters per second. So depending on what your setup is, you may need to change that accordingly, but even on the lowest speed, I'm just sat here and there's definitely a decent breeze coming through them, even on the lowest speed setting. And again, if you want them to be like this, they are pretty much quiet. So let's go through some of the modes actually on the RGB. There are an absolute ton of modes, so this may take a little while and I may cut to some B-roll to make this look a little bit better. But essentially there's tons and tons of options. Actually, before I do that, let's change the fan speed settings. So this is fan speed setting 1. This is now on speed setting 2, and again, a big increase in speed. Hardly any increase in noise. I do like that. There is some reverberation coming through this IKEA desk. Obviously, they're not really designed to be used like this. And if I lift them up slightly, the noise goes away completely. So on the full speed, again, there is a little bit of noise there coming through the desk. But if we lift them up, again, that's pretty much silent. They rate them about 23 dB, so again, very, very quiet, and generally in most computer cases these days, you'll find that there's bound to be something in there which is a little bit louder, especially if you've got a graphics card or something like that. So let's go through some of the settings on the RGB. This is the auto mode, and we'll go through and we'll just cycle through. So some pretty nice looking patterns actually on these. I was actually quite impressed. I have had a quick look at these previously when we did our Discord after show party from our live stream, and went through some of the guys on there, showing them exactly all the things, and it took absolutely ages, so we'll try and get through this as quick as possible. But you can see there's tons and tons of different lighting effects in there. And actually some really unusual colours, which I don't think I've seen before on any addressable RGB systems. So depending on what your preference is, this could look really nice. Actually, this particular setup here reminds me a lot of IKEA Shadow's logos on his computers and his Twitch streams, etc. So maybe one for him. But again, loads and loads of different pastel colours, etc. I'm pretty sure there's going to be something for everyone. This is kind of like your Miami type look. Again, there's just loads and loads. It just keeps on going. I really do like this. This is a really nice look. Reminds me of the fruit splits chews. Making me hungry. So again, loads and loads of different colour options. It just keeps on going, keeps on changing. They are all quite similar, but there is very slight, distinct kind of changes in the pattern. Again, you may find something you like. There are tons and tons of options, and we just keep on going through. So this is, again, a different one. And all of this is actually translated onto the RGB controller as well. So if you wanted to, you could actually stick this in the front section of your PC so it's actually visible. You might have to be a little bit cautious about your wiring, but there's not really a great deal of wire going to it, and all the cables are blacked out, so that shouldn't be a problem. Again, just more variations of the same sort of thing, but absolutely loads and loads of options. Again, obviously, if you wanted to, you can connect up the pass-through cable and connect up to your motherboard's 5-volt addressable RGB system, so you can synchronize it with that. But actually, for those of you that don't have any RGB, maybe you've got an older A320 motherboard, or maybe a B450 which doesn't support addressable RGB, this is going to be a really nice way of just adding that little bit of extra RGB to your system. Again, we'll just keep on going through. Absolutely loads and loads of options. It just keeps on going and going. You can go on for ages. There must be in excess of 100 different patterns on here. They don't actually say in the literature how many patterns there are, but certainly there is a lot to choose from. Now, obviously, if you don't like those particular things, you can go through, just change and have solid colors. So you've got white, red, green, and blue, usual kind of deal. And again, you can change things like the brightness. So that is on the full brightness. And we go through the modes again, you can see that probably does look much better on camera. I probably should have done that to start with. But again, loads and loads of options on there. And the default unicorn puke actually does look really nice, and the fade works really, really well. Now you can change the speed as well. So if you want it to be a little bit slower, you can slow it right down. Yep, I think that's the slowest you can get. And obviously then you can speed it right back up. Okay, tons and tons of options. I really do like these fans. The lighting on them, I think, is really, really good. It is a slight shame that you can't control them via the PWM from a motherboard. But saying that, I think even at full speed, most people in their system are going to be absolutely fine with them. They do move quite a lot of air and are pretty much silent. So I think that's pretty much going to wrap this one up. If you've got any comments or questions, please do feel free to let me know in the comments section below. And we will be doing a giveaway for these in some way, shape or form. So do check out the comment section below and also the video show notes. And also, if you want to, you can join our Discord and it will all be posted on there as well. So that's going to pretty much wrap this one up. These have been the RGB fan set. Again, full links will be in the video description if you want to check them out for yourself. But in the meantime, I've been Mike. This is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll catch you in the very next video. Thanks for watching.